Well, you would agree. This guy is the guy. I know we make the joke all the time about number one recruits in the country. Amani Bates is up there.
Yep.
Others. Peyton Watson is our number one recruit because he committed on our show.
Yeah, if you come on our show, you're number one. So, yeah, Peyton Watson, officially Titus and Tate ranked number one recruit, yes.
So, Chet Holmgren, let me strike that. The number two recruit in the country behind Peyton Watson. Yes. Committed to Gonzaga today. We are not only what am I going to say? One of the things that we're great at, Tate, if I can pat ourselves on the back, is breaking down recruiting announcements, how they choose to do it, where they choose to do it. Did they put out a graphic? Did they announce at the McDonald's All-American dunk contest, or did they choose to do it in their high school gym? Chet chose his high school gym.
Yep.
He chose to have his parents next to him. But I wanted to get your attention, or I wanted to get your thoughts on this, because this got my attention when I was watching it. Was two things. Number one, the announcement took an hour, and that I turned it off for a little while and then came back. I got to a point where I was like, screw it, I don't need to watch this. I'll just find out on Twitter he went to Gonzaga. And then like 30 minutes passed and I was like, I'll throw it back on.
You're like, I guess I do need to watch. Something amazing is going to happen. That's kind of how I felt too. As it was happening, it felt very much, you know what it reminded me of was the LeBron decision from 2010, where you were kind of, you looked at the programming guide. This is when I used to do that, at least like on the, the channel guide, and it's like an hour and a half was blocked out. And I'm like, what are we going to do for an hour and a half? Is this going to be like a concert or something? Like, are we going to get to watch something?
Miley Cyrus comes out.
That would have been better. The fact that this was an hour, the fact that it still led to a kid mumbling, like, I'm going to go to Gonzaga, and then being nervous on TV. I mean, the best part about the whole thing for me was like seeing that an 18-year-old kid hasn't changed that much. You know what I mean? We always hear about these generations. Everything is changing. Nothing will be the same. They can't even relate to you. They have no idea what you're talking about. And at the end of the day, Chet Holmgren looked like every single other top flight recruit that was nervous to be on SportsCenter, that was nervous to make a big life decision, and was awkward as hell while he was doing it. And to me, that made him endear himself to me at some level. I know he probably was like, I wanted to look cool as on ESPN. What are you talking about? But to me, I was like, this is familiar at some level. Other than the Gonzaga part, I think the Gonzaga part is the most shocking part. But they're officially a blue blood, a full-on new blood that is now on blue blood status, whatever you want to call it or frame it. But otherwise, it felt very familiar.
Yeah, that's a great point. That the more things change around these announcements, the more it stays the same of the 18-year-old kid is nervous, and then this kid's been in the spotlight for a long time, and he's still like, I'm 18, dude. Like, I don't, this is weird to be.
Yeah. He's like, you guys are stressing me out. Yeah. All of you ESPN people, all of you saying, how does it feel? How does it feel, Chet? How does it feel to get this over with? And he's like, and if you're 18 or what, 17, whatever it is, like you do not know what the answer to that question is, other than like, it feels pretty sweet. Like, I'm dope. And you can't really say that, because that would, of course, not be good for your brand.
He did the J. Will.
Yeah, I like that.
Open up the jacket. I like that a lot. By the way, shout out to J. Will that I called it the J. Will. That seems like, I'm sure Jason Williams loves that I just called.
I'm sure someone else did that before. Like Kendall Gill's like, I did that.
I just started that.
J. Will stole that.
He opens up the jacket, Tate, and he has a T-shirt with his own face on it at least 3 times, is what by my count. I didn't.
I think it was 3. Yeah,
it was 3 times, right?
Yeah. To give a reference point, you have a Jimmy V shirt on.
I do have
one of the most legendary coaches of all time. And guess how many faces are on that shirt? One face.
One face.
How many Jimmy V had? One.
When we announced we were going to Fox Sports, we did a recruiting announcement of our own. We put hats on, Fox Sports hats, Westwood One hats.
You put a hat on a hat.
I put a hat on
people
a hat.
At home. Yes.
And my question is, you mentioned 18-year-olds mumbling hasn't changed much, but my God, the announcements themselves, they're evolving, and I'm so excited for the future. We've seen the graphics, we've seen hats. Are hats done? Are we going to get more T-shirts? Did Chet Holmgren just start a new trend where we're going to get T-shirts with guys' faces on them?
I do think I think guys don't like the idea of hats, because hats are awkward, especially if you don't like, if it's a brand new hat. Everyone knows.
Yeah, that's right.
If you wear hats, if it's a brand new hat, you put a hat on, you got to get fitted right. So you don't look great in your pictures. And this is supposed to be your moment. And obviously these kids are all on Instagram, so it's got to be a great picture of themselves. So they're thinking, cut out the hat, cut out the hair, issue here. And now I just put on a t-shirt. I open the jacket. I show you where I'm going. We all celebrate. We take the pictures.
I think our off-season content can maybe be, we do like Nathan for you type stuff, but we do recruiting announcements for recruits. Is you and I offer our services on like how you should do it, how you stand out, where you should do it. You should pull like a rope and a banner unfurls and confetti falls and it says mission accomplished.
We should start a company for regular people that does announcements where we like build a graphic for them. It's like, you're going to go work at Bank of America, once you graduate from college. So here's your graphic that we made for you. It's like going into investment banking 2021 at Bank of America. It's you're writing a check in the picture. Just
for $500 we'll give you a graphic and we'll
and a brand, like we'll give you like a hashtag.
Your thoughts on Chet Holmgren going to Gonzaga, in the sense that Gonzaga to me has positioned themselves as I think you said the new Duke. You said Drew Timme feels like Christian Laettner.
Yeah.
And is Gonzaga the new Duke? Now they have not won a national title. They lost to Baylor. But they still get the number one recruit in the country. They might have the number one pick in the NBA draft in Jalen Suggs. And there's an embarrassment of riches in Spokane, and yet they have not won a national title. So as a hater yourself, as a guy who has hated Duke, hates the Duke model, do you feel like now that you landed a guy named Chet, the number one recruit in the country, is this a hateable move for Gonzaga? Where does this fall? Do you think America is going to like Chet Holmgren on Gonzaga? Are we out on Gonzaga? Where is America going to fall in this state?
I think America is still, I believe that they are still misconstrued a little bit with Gonzaga, because I think Gonzaga fans themselves, right, hate Duke. And I think that they believe that. And I understand what they're saying by that. They're like, we're not Duke. We are not about that. We don't use gimmicks to win games. That's not us. And if anything, you guys use gimmicks, would say a Gonzaga fan about North Carolina in the 2017 title game. But you mentioned it. I mean, this guy's name is Chet. He's the number one recruit in the country, and he should be going to Duke. And there's just no doubt about that. And the fact that Drew Timme is going to probably come back and run it back, that says a lot about that front court, that you're going to have a guy named Chet and a guy that strokes his mustache every time he does anything of note. I mean, that is probably the most hateable. That's the most hateable front court I could think of. I mean, it makes Mo Wagner look like Alonzo Mourning, you know what I mean, in comparison. And so in general, I think that is a hard place to start for them to not be the new Duke. And if you really think about it in the context of time, Duke in 1990, is nobody. Duke is like trying to knock on the door. They've made, I think, 2 championship games at that point, maybe 3. And Coach K, everyone's saying, will he ever get over the hump? Will he ever get over the hump? It does feel like this next year could be 1991 for Gonzaga. They get over the hump. They get their first title. They win one with Chet. It was supposed to happen this year. I thought that Suggs would be their guy, but maybe it's this year. And if they do win the title, Titus, they're officially the new Duke. They're officially
they officially are.
They're not hated yet because they haven't won right
but
now.
I think they still
annoying.
Are hated in a weird.
They're annoying.
We've never been in a position like this as a college basketball community where I do think there are a lot of people that hate Gonzaga, but they've never won a national title, and it feels weird. They're a small school.
I will say I do not hate them yet, but if they win next year with Chet, I will hate them.
I certainly do not hate them. I badly want Gonzaga to win a national title. I think it's an awesome story for the whole arc of the program. But at the same time, you and I do not represent all of college basketball fans. So there does seem to be a contingent of people that are like, screw these dudes. I don't want to hear like people are going to be very upset that Gonzaga is going to be ranked number 1 at some point next year. And they're going to say they're overrated. They're going to say, we saw this last year. They got smoked to Baylor. Like, get this team out of my face. They don't play anybody. Like the familiar refrain is going to happen. And I just find it interesting because now Gonzaga is, whether they've won a national title or not, they're landing number 1 recruits in the country. They're landing 5 stars regularly. And that's interesting to me because no other program is going to catch that much heat without winning a title. But
what's interesting to me will be the next 5 years, which will be, Chet Holmgren, I think, was already a done deal to Gonzaga. After, without Tommy Lloyd, that's already done. What I'm interested in is what happens when the West Coast is splintered, What happens if Tommy Lloyd is able to actually recruit the same way that he was to Gonzaga, but at a blue blood like Arizona? Because then we have the best rivalry in our new West Coast basketball, universe of sorts, which is the new bloods versus the blue bloods. It is the epitome of it. It will be Gonzaga versus Arizona. It'll be Tommy Lloyd with the players like Miles Simon and Jason Terry and Richard Jefferson and all those guys, if he can get them to buy in, versus Mark Few's FIBA basketball and international basketball and recruiting kids from all over the world.
Versus and that Mick Cronin.
Versus Mick Cronin
and Jordan Brand.
Yeah, I mean that is a fun backyard for you and I when we talk about college basketball. So in general, I'm okay if Gonzaga gets to the point where everyone says they're the Duke and they're the most hated, because that means that they're that good. Right. That's really what it says. So if you're a Gonzaga fan, don't take it as a slight. Take it as we are officially a powerhouse.
I think Gonzaga fans would be okay with it if they win a title.
Exactly.
That's a bad spot to be in as a fan, where you're like, everybody hates my program and we've never won.
Actually won, yeah. What is happening? And people and honestly, like there's some people that hate Gonzaga or like got more hate because of this year. You know what I mean? Like this year, kind of, if you were one of the haters that said they never do it, on the big stage, this year kind of, if anything, solidified your belief in that. So. Yes. They have a lot of unfortunate, like just shade that's going to be thrown their way. And at the end of the day, they live in Spokane. They fly private wherever they want to go. They're going to be okay. They're going to play who they want to play. And if anything, the cards and the chips, whatever you want to say, have to fall their way at some point because they're too prepared. They're too good and they have too much talent. Like if Drew Timme does come back and they have Timme and Chet Holmgren, I haven't even seen Chet Holmgren play that much, but I assume with Drew Timme, he's going to get a lot of opportunities. You know what I mean? And I think he's going to probably flourish in those opportunities. Hey there. Thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.